Go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Pulled from the Shelf, a collector talk podcast. I am your semi-intrepid host, Mike Behrman, the living title crawl, as you will. With me, as always, is the Chewbacca to my Han Solo, the Lobot to my Lando, the Bib Fortuna to my Jabba the Hutt. He is the human salacious crumb. I'm talking about Will, the boss, Ross. Will, how you doing, buddy?
It goes. I was awakened by smoke alarms all morning, so that's
Smoke
fun.
alarms? What happened?
They're testing the smoke alarms in our apartment. So
Oh my god.
They run for like 3 hours as they go to every single room.
Sounds like an absolute disaster.
Yep.
Oh my lord. Well, welcome back, Unrested Will. Excited to have you, man. Excited for today's cast. Super pumped up. Let's talk about Star Wars. With us are some old friends and some new friends. We got the humans, not so tin 3PO and D2. I'm talking about Bryce and Zach. Welcome, Bryce. Welcome, Zach.
Hello.
How you guys doing? Yeah, right?
Which one is which?
I had I wasn't expecting
You're totally
that, so I had a
3PO.
different intro for Bryce. When I saw your car here, I was like, okay, I got a backup when I rolled up, right? So I was working that Star Wars angle today. If you guys can't tell, I'm super pumped up to talk about Star Wars today. A big big one for the cast. And I think our gang, our guests, our buddies are pumped to talk about Star Wars too.
Pump it up.
We were getting into it really hard before you hit start. Oh man, I am jazzed up. There's been too much coffee going on.
Too much coffee, man.
Yeah, too much coffee, man. You guys pumped up about Star Wars? You guys big Star Wars fans in general?
Yeah. I like the recent stuff. I'm a little not so jazzed about, but the stuff before I've fallen in love with the story at least.
Oh yeah.
I'm a fan of the Clone Wars.
The cartoon?
Both and the actual history and lore for the Clone Wars.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Same here.
I'm a fan of
Oh,
clones.
that is a great segue, Bryce. You're unwillingly being really good at this. You're going to be the new Nick if you keep this up. The big
you mean our boat goblin is
segue
not
here
here?
is... No, Nick's not here this week. He'll be back. My boy Nick is... he's a busy guy. He's in demand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got things to do.
You need the sass power.
The big segue is today, the big title of the episode, and what we're going to get into in a little bit after we just really chop it up about Star Wars is... I am a huge Star Wars nerd, talking about how we got into Star Wars. It is one of my earliest theater memories, was going to see Episode 1. I remember my parents bought the box set of VHSs before that. You remember that gold slipcase with the Vader? Who didn't have that, right? You always knew someone who had that growing up, right? You'd be at their place. I watched that literally, I think, every time I was sick. Like, that was, I think, played the movies to death. It was my favorite movies growing up. So going to see the prequel trilogies was really cool. Especially because they came out, I thought, a couple years apart, which was sweet because then you kind of naturally grow up with it.
Ironically, I thought the prequels were the first ones.
Yeah, right? When you were really little, it was like, this is the first ever Star Wars. I think I have a distinct memory of my dad being like, no, Star Wars is, been cool forever. And then we watched Star Wars, and I was like, Star Wars is cool.
Did he go and watch them in the theaters when it came out?
I don't know if he went to the original ones. I don't know. I'd have to ask him. But I know that we went to Episode 1 when it came out, and I was really young for that.
Yep.
So that was a big point here. And especially talking about the prequel trilogies, I have got... There are a lot of hot takes going on about...
Hotcakes.
The prequel and the sequel trilogies going around online, and we're going to get into some of those. But I have got what I think is an ironclad take on how to fix the prequel trilogy. I'm excited to share it with Bryce and Zach, but I don't think I've heard it yet. I know Will has probably heard me rant about this 4 or 5 times at least.
I may or may not like to poke you and make you talk about them.
Oh, dude, I love this take because it is good. I've talked to other Star Wars fans, big fans, and we argue about stuff, and I always get them with this one because I've thought about this way too long, man. This is too much mental real estate for a 30-year-old man, but that's that's where we go. So we're gonna really chop it up about the prequels. But what I wanted to know first is I had a couple. There was a big Star Wars marathon on last week. I don't know if you guys. It was just on TV, and
I don't even have TV anymore.
yeah, we were watching NFL, and one of the games was postponed because of COVID or something like that. I don't remember, right? So there was less games, so we ended up watching. Yeah, Kirk Cousins. If I die, I die.
Brody knows that
what a
one.
guy. Oh, Corona Kirk. There was episode 8 was on, very controversial film in the Star Wars fandom. Very, very controversial. That's Last Jedi, right? But I remember sitting there, and I had a big conversation with my girlfriend, my partner Ray, and we like really chopped it up. And a great question that I want to ask you guys was, did you like the prequels more than the sequels, or vice versa?
I like the prequels more than the sequels.
You like the prequels better? So like 1 to 3, right? What about you, Will?
I think I have the same problem as I did when we did our movies, best of movies. I like them both for what they were. I love the clones. I love seeing the early technology. I'm a huge fan of Old Republic, so I loved seeing the like better quality CGI stuff, seeing the clones, seeing young Anakin. But I liked the dirty, grimy rebellion in HD of the sequel trilogy, and I liked the story.
What about you, Zach? How come you like the prequels one better?
Well, the prequels ones kind of showed you how it all got to where it is in the first movie. Also, well, I do.
You like the lore deep dive.
Yeah. Also, the same reason why he liked the Rebels part, I just thought it seemed more like it was a war on equal sides. Like there wasn't one that had a better chance of winning than the other, for me at least.
Like in the prequel one, like it was a little more of a stalemate, and that was kind of more interesting to you.
Yeah,
I kind of dig that. Like less of an underdog story, right, than the original prequel or the original trilogy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the Empire was
war story.
winning the entire war pretty much until, and the rebels were kind of just gathering information, running away, like nothing.
Well, like the original trilogy is very much so an underdog because they were very guerrilla tactic-y and stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like the prequels is kind of like an all-out actual war story, right? Like you know what I mean? Where like there's proper kind of equal battling, even if the Republic ends up kind of dominating chunks of it, right? Like they really get into that with the cartoon. What about you, Bryce?
I think both have really, really good takes. I like the Rebellion for exactly what you said. It's the running, hiding, stealing. But I also did like the Clone Wars because it was an equal footing, no holds bar fight over like entire planets, huge space battles above things.
Coruscant.
Yeah, that one
in
was really
episode 3
good.
when they bump in and it's all the ships over it and they have to go rescue Palpatine.
And they're having a legit fight over a planet.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, you
to a
kinda
point where it's
Those actual full space.
there's
battle
a
with, like,
full
capital
size.
ships.
Let's see who's stronger.
Yeah.
Oh, and also in the Clone Wars, you kind of see an arms race of some sorts, like how the different droids come in and stuff.
Kind of like Will was talking about. You get to see like a progression of technology.
Yeah, you
like
you see
almost
the
logic
differences
from battle droid to stormtrooper. You know what I mean? You kind of see that like, oh, here's this transition from here to there, and sort of right.
Yeah, you guys see all the plans unfold, and like everyone gets the goosebumps when you see Order 66 executed, and Yoda has like a heart attack.
Yeah, that's a fair call, man. See, the thing that's really interesting from your guys' takes is that it seems like you guys are a lot more focused on. Like not the actual performance like of the movie itself, but rather like the content in relation to like the universe and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is like super nerdy of you guys. I fucking love that. That's awesome because I'm kind of the same way. That's one of the things I think the prequel does so cool is like the ship design and like just the building of the battle droids and more importantly just fleshing out cool things about the universe. When they first like announced those and more importantly, like mostly between episode 1 and 2, because I was a little older, you know what I mean? I think 2 came out when I was 12, like just about 13, I'm pretty sure. And so old enough to actually have kind of a take on movies, albeit, you know, like a 12-year-old's one. So a dumb one for the most part. But uninformed, more like. You're 12. How many movies did you watch and actually comprehend, right? But the point is, I remember even thinking like, hey, you know what I mean? We're like, it's called Attack of the Clones. Like, we're going to have the Clone Wars right away. Because all you really knew about, when they announced the prequel trilogy in general, all you really knew about that period of time was like, all right, man, the Clone Wars. Anakin and Obi-Wan were heroes in it, and they fought in it. And somehow, the Republic went away, and the Emperor took control.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all we knew, right, about the Clone Wars before they made those movies. and this is like a big part of my prequel take, is that I think that it's ironic that for the Clone Wars being such a big part of that, and you guys are talking about the really cool battles and seeing them on screen, I think that, yeah, you know, screw it, let's just get into the take, like the main take. The big part for me was I felt like they missed the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars doesn't take place in the actual movies, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and this is just talking about, like you guys said, like overall influence and like what you guys get to see and like the lore creation of it. There's a lot of cool things that happen in there, like building the structure of the Jedi Order and like seeing like an active Jedi Knight and Padawan, which we never get to see in the original trilogies, right? Because that's the whole thing, is it's like, well, who's gonna train Luke? This is really different, right? So I always think like it's really like you really miss out on the fact that like there is no Clone War. Like the cartoon show arguably is the best part of the prequel era. In my opinion.
Yeah.
Also,
if you want the Clone Wars, it
and
definitely
this
is.
might sound like a bit corny, but my favorite thing out of the sequel and the Clone Wars TV show is that they brought back Darth Maul. He's one of my favorite characters because...
Spoiler alert from ages ago. Anyone who hasn't watched it, you're screwed. Go ahead.
Either way, I love Darth Maul's story. Like, they fleshed... For one guy that you thought was dead in the one movie, he just won't go away. That's one of the goodest things.
Like a character that's supposed to have a character that's supposed to be like menacing, and they're like, that's Darth Maul, and like, oh, like why Obi-Wan's afraid of him as he's fighting Qui-Gon, and you're just like, how do they know this guy? He's just out of nowhere, and then it's just like, the Clone Wars explains everything, and the books explain it. He has one of the
kind of
coolest
just flash
stories.
him in out of nowhere too.
So to get back to the original question, I prefer the sequels. I think. I think, and I measure the movies as far as like movie making as well. I think that the acting in the sequel trilogy is generally overall better. Like there's no Hayden Christensen, right? There's no Jar Jar Binks we were talking about, right? You know, there's no like Natalie Portman. I think is a very talented actress. She has a very good track record, good for performances. But you put her beside Brick Wall Christensen, and she looks terrible, right? Like the only person who really comes off like, you know, where you can genuinely get into their moments is Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. You know what I mean? I do not count Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon because he gone, bro. He dead, man.
He's so cool.
Okay, so And I think that to carry on with this take, I think that there's strong enough performances from. I like John Boyega. He's a little rough in Last Jedi, but he's so likable as Finn that I'm just here for him.
Yes, Finn's good.
Yeah, he's likable. You know what I mean? Like whatever you have to say about how they handled his character and stuff, I want him to be cool and to do well because John Boyega's good as him. Oscar, what's his face? The guy who plays Poe. Why can't I remember this? Can you look it up?
Poe Dameron.
Yeah, Poe Dameron does a great job. Carrie Fisher comes back. R.I.P. forever. Much love to the princess, but puts on some good stuff. I think that Adam Driver is a little choppy. Kylo Ren is love it and hate it for me personally. But I think he's interesting.
I
and
wouldn't
that goes over
call
really
him a bad actor.
The actor who
Good actor.
I'd call the
Medium
first
performance.
written performance for him bad.
Medium actor or good actor, medium performance.
Yeah.
What's that? What? What's
the
it?
actor for Poe Dameron
Oscar
is
Isaac. Right?
yeah, Oscar
yes,
Isaac.
thank you. I just got it. I wanted to say Oscar Wilde, and I was like, nope.
No.
That is some shady misinformation. Oscar Isaac is so awesome too.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Well, Poe Dameron's supposed to die at the start of the first movie, Force Awakens. But yeah. So this is infamous. He's on record talking about like he called up J.J. Abrams and was like, "Buddy, you gotta have a part for me here, right? Like we're friends. This is like one of my all-time dreams. I gotta have a part." And apparently, like they shot that scene and stuff, and they like it just like worked so well that they were like, "Yeah, man, let's just keep him going, right?" Like. And he turned out to be, you know, like one of the top 3-4 main characters in the whole shebang, right? So I really think he goes a long way. Like I said, Adam Driver, who is ironically I think probably the best actor out of all of them. Daisy Ridley, pretty good, also very 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 good looking.
To rudely interrupt, we have our first question from the one, the only Ray.
Oh yeah. Okay, hot takes from Ray. What's she got for me?
Why do they all have the wrong title?
Ooh, okay, yeah, this is a good one. So the other part. Oh, hold on, we'll get to that in a second. The other part of why I think the sequel ones are better is that I just think they're, and it's part of the nature of what's in the story. They're just cool. They're just more fun. Like if you measure the movies against each other, right? So, in my opinion, the best of let's be honest. Everyone's opinion, for the most part, the best of the prequels is number 3, right? Like which one do you like best?
Of the prequels, I do kind of like the one where they go to Geonosis the first.
You like number 2 best? Oh, that is a spicy take, man. That is against like all the internet. How come you like 2 so much? Because like going to like the final battle and stuff, or
I kind of like it. They kind of it's kind of funny. I liked it because of Jango Fett, really, because he's a normal guy, just a well-trained warrior facing off against these Jedi and actually doing well.
We
Big
have
Boba fan, too.
We have a guest.
Oh, we got a guest? All right, what's going on? Hello. Welcome to the show. Oh, I know who this is. Hi, Ray. How are you doing?
It's me. I'm the turkey all along.
I'm so happy you were. What's up? What can we do for you? You here to talk about these wrong names?
Yes.
Okay, I'm super excited.
Did you play our clip?
I've not played the clip, but I'm bringing it up. I'm bringing it up right now.
Who the imposter is.
Do you want to? I know, right? It was her. Yeah. Ray, no longer sus, but definitely ejected. Ray, do you want to lead us into this little video?
Well, my mind was blown when I was sent just a little revamping of the Star Wars main titles and how arguably said titles for the movies actually work for other movies in the series and work way better than the movie they were given the title for.
Yeah, this is one of the things that really prompted this video was Ray sending this to me. It's like a minute-long video. We'll maybe try and share it in Discord here, but it is really spicy if I can find it. One sec here, guys. It was really mind-blowing. I think Will's seen it.
Yes.
The best part is that once you see it, you just can't unsee it anymore.
Oh, there's a marathon on during Thanksgiving weekend. And even though, the team guide said one movie, I thought it was a totally different one because now I am convinced they all have the wrong name.
Just because of this.
I am very
Yes.
curious.
100%.
Ray, while we got you, what do you like better, the prequels or the sequels?
Ooh. You know what? Sequels.
Ooh, yes, I got
Movie
backup.
sequels.
I got backup. I'm outvoted here. Everyone else is voting for the prequels because they like all the lore stuff.
Are they?
Yeah, I got Bryce and Zach and Will here, and they're all teaming up on me, man.
Well, use the force and push us back.
What do you think about the prequels that they think is better?
They all liked a bunch of the story stuff, right, guys? You guys liked a bunch of the deep dive lore and the development of the world for the most part,
Pretty much.
and the large scale war, right?
Yeah.
But you guys are that makes sense because you guys are Warhammer guys too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So large scale war makes sense.
Covered better in the Star Wars shows and stuff than it was in the actual movies. That's why I would vote for the prequels because honestly, all the little things that they made off of the prequels explore that world so much better than the actual movies did.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. We were kind of getting into that a little bit. That like I had said maybe 10 minutes ago, that the Clone Wars was probably the best thing that they did for the prequel era.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go, guys. I've got it on my computer here. You guys want to take a quick peek?
Oh yeah.
We might not be able to hear on the cast. Bear with us, guys. I will fill us in.
This is why every Star Wars film has the wrong title. What happens in Episode 1? We meet Anakin Skywalker, the Rise of Skywalker. Years later, we find out that Palpatine, leader of the Sith, have ordered an army to destroy the Jedi. Revenge of the Sith. In Episode 3, Order 66 happens and the clones attack. Attack of the Clones. In Episode 4, Obi-Wan teaches Luke that it's time for the Jedi to return. Return of the Jedi. In Episode 5, Yoda teaches Luke how to use the Force. The Force Awakens. In Episode 6, both Yoda and Anakin die, which makes Luke the last Jedi. After the Empire is destroyed, a new Empire comes. The Empire Strikes Back. Come on, guys. In Episode 8, Luke trains Rey and then sacrifices himself to give the Resistance a new hope. Finally, in Episode 9, Palpatine returns from the dead, making him the Phantom Menace. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Lucasfilm, hire me, please.
Oh man, that is the movie we're talking about.
Yeah,
Shout
but it's
out to Zebulon Dak for that
I
one
can
on
understand
YouTube.
that. I just kind of think they want to do a little mystery. Like, I watched a movie about the whole process of making a good story, and it's kind of the misdirection of it all. Like, that's why Yoda, when you first saw him, was looked like a bumbling old man instead of the actual Jedi Master guy who could teach you.
Well, the beauty of the video is that there's no way that they could, like swap all the titles around on a franchise that's, made across like 40, 50 years of history, right? But I think the best part is that it does fit eerily well. Like, one of my favorite ones is, right? Okay, what's your favorite swap while we got you here? Sorry. Phone
My
guest.
favorite swap, oof. You know what? Ironically, it's the last one where it's like the Dark Emperor rises and the Phantom Menace.
Yes.
Because the Phantom Menace never made sense to me for the first one.
You know what it is? There is a throwaway line between Yoda and Mace Windu where they refer to the Sith as being extinct, and they say, the Phantom Menace, so-and-so. And they kind of refer to the Sith as the Phantom Menace. And it's just like, come on.
But that's such a throwaway line.
Episode 1,
like,
yeah.
Or they could just be having a dartboard with a bunch of words on it and just throwing darts at it.
Oh,
Yeah.
the
Phantom Menace does sound cool. That's fair. Like, that is some buzzwords, right?
The
Like,
Marvel scenario where it's like, how do we make a new character? Open up the Marvel RPG book and just randomly select.
Yeah. Cool. He's got this powers. He's from this hero's book, and he's a she. Rock on.
Yeah.
Spider-Woman 3. Here we go.
I liked when he's like, the clones attack. Come on, guys. What are you doing here?
Yeah. Like, when it's Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
For Force Awakens as Empire Strikes Back. I'm into that. Yeah, that video is really spicy though, because that is like actually eerily good. I think the Attack of the Clones as Episode 3 makes so much more sense too, right? Mm-hmm. Because
it makes a lot more sense because that's when the actual Order and like more so of the Clone War actually gets shown.
Yeah, people screw up the title of the second movie all the time because of that, because they always refer to it as like the Clone Wars and stuff like that, and it's like, no man, it's Attack of the Clones, and they're like, oh really? And you're like, yeah, there's really not much Clone War in it at all, like, for being honest. And the clones don't really attack much of anything. Yeah.
You have like Episode 2, which is a throwaway movie, because what really happens in there that's that important?
Oh, well, that leads into the best part of the take, and I was kind of building this when we were talking about what we like better.
You could say that with the prequel too, or the sequels, with Episode 8 not really having any substance.
Oh.
So both prequel and sequel have a kind of throwaway movie.
Well, then, if we're still arguing about prequels versus sequels, then that totally counts to me. What do you guys think? Because like we're weighing the two worst ones maybe as 2 and 8. Is that like fair for everyone except for Zach, who likes 2?
That's a.
What do you think?
Why does Zach like 2? Tell
One-
me, Zach.
I like Jango Fett, and it shows that a normal person can actually fight a Jedi and actually win.
Okay.
Kidding me? The
They could
movies
do that
take
with
a
the other
dump
ones,
on
though,
every
too.
enemy that could fight a Jedi.
Oh.
General Grievous gets his butt kicked, and
Yeah.
he's been killing Jedis up and
Yeah.
down through the war.
No, but that's because Jango Fett's one of the best. Will become one of the best, and he gets it from his dad.
No, you're thinking about Boba. That's Jango's clone.
Yeah.
Jango's the OG.
Well,
Yeah.
son.
He's talking about Jango.
Yeah,
well,
Clone
Clone's
Jango's
son, same thing.
Jango's
Yeah.
like
Both,
the
technically.
OG. So he's like the only one that can potentially take out like Jedi.
Okay, well, Bryce and Will, what do you think is like the worst one from each trilogy? Are we on 2 and 8? Do we agree
I'd
there?
say out of any of them, probably 1.
Oh, 1. That's a spicy
Same
one.
here.
1, hey? What about Bryce from the prequels? Like, worst one.
Yeah, maybe 1.
Maybe 1? Well, okay, does everybody pick Last Jedi from the sequels? It's Last Jedi, right?
Like from like episode
Is it?
6 to 8.
It is
Yeah,
like
6 and 9.
No, mine's
Hamill
the
stuff?
one. The one where Kylo Ren kills. Well, Luke Skywalker turns to his Force ghost.
Yeah, that's Last Jedi. Yeah,
Yeah, pretty much that's the one I hate.
that's the middle one of that
I'd have
trilogy.
what's the one with the casino?
That's Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Last Jedi.
You guys are just like, what's the one I hate? It's like, that's Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Bryce? Because I know the internet roasts Last Jedi all the time, and to be fair, I'm often coming to the defense of Last Jedi. I think there's more merit to that movie than people think.
I just don't
think
like the
there
casino
is.
stuff. That's
Yeah.
it. That and the pink chuckle fuck.
Yeah.
What is that?
I just kind of think
The
it's
captain chick.
they blew up an entire planet.
When's
Yet still the
When's the first
Last
time
Order
we
is
get to
still
meet
kicking
Kylo
their
Ren
butts
in
to
person?
here to
Episode
Kashyyyk.
7.
Yeah, that's not like
It's the one with like the Death Star planet.
That has got to be my least favorite. If
Force
that's-
Awakens would be your least favorite.
Kylo Ren just disappointed me. Like you said, he's a really good actor, but the way they portrayed him as a tantruming child just killed any type of villain that movie had for me.
See, I kind of disagree because I thought Force Awakens was probably their strongest one because it had the least to live up to. You know what I mean? I felt like the big problem with here's my take on the sequels in general is that I think that 8 and 9 really got changed quickly because Carrie Fisher passed away during filming.
Yeah.
Also, they had 2 different directors.
But they were filming stuff for 8 when she passed away, so all the stuff in 9 they had filmed for 8.
Ouch.
So I think that's what I mean, right? So I think I don't know if Princess Leia was going to die in that trilogy. You know what I mean? Like we can't know that without getting on the inside and
yeah,
talking to the writers, right?
ironically,
Feels like she probably wasn't.
That's what I'm saying. Like so what's the difference? So people really crap all over 8, and I think it feels like a movie that got rushed. I feel like there is some editing problems. I think that they really cut the hell out of Finn and Rose.
Yeah,
So
that's
any enjoyment of like them and their whole story arc is just all over the place. Not to mention that there's like 3 climaxes for them at the end of the movie where like, okay, you're getting into the thing and now you're arrested. Okay, and then you're about to die and now you're leaving the big Death Star thing. Okay, and now you're about to die and you're saving Finn again. You know what I mean? It's a little much.
Ironically,
but-
though, one thing I didn't like about it was that Leia had powers. Like, out
Oh,
of nowhere.
hard disagree. Every Legends thing ever, including Episode 6, it heavily hinted at Leia has got heavy force power. All she needed was somebody to teach
They
her.
also
Her
explained-
flying through space, like
was funny.
Mary Poppins, is kind of dumb as fuck. But
That's what I mean. Like, if they want, I would have liked it if she just used her force powers to stay in the room and then get pulled in.
well, if she just did something else with her force powers
Yeah.
to prove that she was a badass as opposed to Mary Poppins in through space, yeah.
Mary
I
Poppins,
agree.
y'all.
Ray, you like the Mary Poppins moment, or are you against it?
Heavily against it, but I always knew that she had force powers.
Yeah.
Like, it was already shown in episode 6.
Yeah. In the books,
When she's when she's with Han, and he says to her, "I bet you Luke got off the planet or got off the Death Star. Like he wasn't there."
yeah, I know, I can
And
feel it, she says, and that's the
looks
whole,
up-
him being a
so
doofus,
you
he's like,
want-
you really love him, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, so she that's already your indication that she is very apt with the Force,
Yeah,
but just hasn't learned how to use it yet.
totally untrained
But-
too, right?
but-
Like,
Yeah, but what's there to say between 6 and 7 that she didn't get trained, right? They showed us
There's,
that in 9.
yeah, that's 30
Yeah, I was
years.
gonna say
Also-
yeah, 9.
And there's that shot of Billy Lord
Also,
playing younger.
the reason
Yeah.
why she stopped was because she used her force powers to see the future and saw Kylo Ren.
Yeah,
so-
she had a vision and saw that, right? And I thought that was cool motivation too. And shout out to Billy Lord for playing her mom in 9 and looking awesome. It's very, very cool. Good
It
little
was
tribute.
very cool.
Yeah, good, cool tribute. Much better than the CGI fiasco they had in Rogue One. Don't get me started on that movie. So that's so where I kind of lie on the sequels is that I think that they really got altered, and I think that like people really crap all over 8, and it is definitely the weakest one, and there's stuff wrong with it, but at the same time, there's cool stuff there, man. I love Old Master Luke. I think him being the crazy hermit, like a kung fu master on the mountain, is cooler than cool. I thought they handled that so perfect. Yeah, whatever. He's some freaking weird old hermit. Yeah, hell yeah.
My favorite.
Hell yeah.
My favorite part about that is, and I had to watch a fan made thing, which is really good. It's like Hero Films or Hero Productions, really good. But there's one where he's talking about fear and failure, and I just caught it where it's Yoda in the hut with young Luke, and Luke's like, "I'm not afraid," and he's like, "You will be." Yeah. And then you get the part where Luke sees the future, because it seems like the Anakin or the Skywalker family has a curse of Force like future visions, and sees Kylo, and then he reacts on that one instinct of fear that Yoda warned him about.
Yeah.
And it's just like how Yoda sits beside him by the burning tree.
Yeah, that was cool too. Like the whole how him and Ben kind of betrayed each other. I thought that was cooler than cool too.
There is one thing I am a little disappointed in the prequels. Yeah. Like they build up Snoke as this badass new villain that we have no knowledge about, but then at the end they just turn him into a clone marionette thing. Yeah. I think that people's expectations got really out of hand between episodes 7 and 8. So people were like, we're going to learn all about Snoke and the Knights of Ren, and it's going to be sweet, and they're going to answer all of our questions. And I was just like, yo, they don't have to answer any fucking questions, right? They don't owe you guys anything from a story point, right? However, I wish they did a little bit more of Snoke. Personally, I wish they wouldn't have brought the Emperor back. However, if you jump over that hurdle, how they brought him back and everything in 9 was super fucking cool. Yes. So I didn't really care because it's such a good ride that it didn't matter. Yeah, you know what I mean? I just kind of
9 really brought it back.
For me, the best if they wanted to bring Palpatine back in the last one, I would have it would be kind of like the opposite of Obi-Wan and
Darth Maul.
And
yeah.
The Force Ghost thing, but for the dark side kind of thing. Like
that'd kind of be cool. It's similar to that, right? Where it's like because the dark side don't get to do Force Ghosts because they're not,
Yeah, but they kind of fuck around with. Oh, sorry.
No, go for it. Fucking swear.
Well, they get around that with the whole Sith alchemy thing.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. So it's like the greasy horror version of Force Ghost, right? Like they clone them and rebring them back. And what's that?
Having a Force Ghost Anakin walking around with Ben, just kind of like whispering at him from time to time, because there's like the conflict. That
would have been cool. I think that's a dope idea.
The one I do really like what Palpatine did to destroy that entire fleet with this.
Yeah, man, that was sweet. Super unlimited power. Like 9 again has flaws, but 9 is just so overwhelmingly cool. All the shots, like that chase scene, the Sith, the whole end thing, and then even when all the ships show up and it's kind of corny, who gives a shit? It's so cool, man. You know what I mean?
Like getting to see the outer,
they got the
outer
ghost
rim,
in there.
or like past the galaxy that we know.
Yeah, that was dope.
Seeing the Sith home planet on the screen instead of in games.
I wish they would have used one of the names from the games, like Korriban or something like that, because I'm a big nerd for that stuff. But whatever. Yeah. They use the exact same idea. They just changed the name. So prequels versus sequels. Here's how I weigh it out. You take your worst movies, right, and they're about a push. They both kind of stink, right? They're probably the 2 worst Star Wars movies. Well, however you view it. You take your medium movies, which for me would be like episode 1 and episode probably 9, because it's got a couple corny moments, and I think 9 is better than 1, in my opinion, right? If I'm going to weigh those two. If you guys think, thanks, Ray. If you guys think 1 is the worst, then you'd probably be weighing like 9 on 2 or 9 on 3 in your case, Zach, right? Mm-hmm. I think 9 probably is better than 2. I think it's probably, for my opinion, I think 3 is the strongest of that prequel trilogy. I would weigh that against 7. I think they're pretty close because 3 has got the coolest lightsaber fights in the whole franchise. There's problems with 3, but
fights are number 3?
Yeah, the Obi-Wan versus Anakin fight. Hey, I live for high ground memes, but like that lightsaber fight is awesome.
Yeah, you have Darth Vader standing on the ground and Luke's on the stairs, and he's just like, Obi-Wan has taught you well.
Yeah.
Look at high ground.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, let's go.
That's the funny thing about Star Wars. You can always find a meme in
What?
some way or
Yeah,
That's
it's
why
good.
you never see a Mandalorian Jedi.
Yep.
Because they have portable high ground. They don't need to be the Force user.
So,
Oh, actually, there was a
There was one.
yeah.
who made the dark saber.
Who made the dark saber? No, he stole the dark saber.
No, he actually made it.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
gangster. I thought it was he stole
They-
it from their
no,
vault.
the
That's
Mandalorians
cool.
stole it back. That's the thing.
Oh,
'cause
okay. Word,
Maul
word.
took, I believe.
Okay, yeah,
no,
that's
Maul
really cool.
took it from the guy
Yeah.
whose ancestor. Who
Yeah.
Stole it.
Yeah.
But I thought they stole. I thought the story was Pre Vizsala's ancestor stole it from the Jedi vault, and that's why he was a badass because he stole it
It
from
may
the
have been,
Jedi.
but either way.
Whatever. Well,
cool.
I'll have to check Clone Wars. I recently rewatched it with Ray. Maybe she remembers. Who knows? This really leads me into.
Say,
Ah, damn. This really leads me into the whole main take here, and why I think I could really shape up the prequel trilogy, and now we're getting into it. This is how we fix the prequels, guys. Is the sequel one, I think the top two movies are so much stronger than, say, the middle movie from the prequel trilogy, that you really only have like a good movie and a half from the prequels for the most part. You know what I mean? And I think the big problem with that, like we just talked about, is that there is no goddamn Clone Wars to be found in those movies. You get the first battle, you get the last two battles in Revenge.
Yeah.
Part of why Revenge is dope, you get two actual battles, right? The one in Coruscant against Grievous, and the other one in Utapau, again against Grievous, right?
And he gets his butt kicked.
Oh, he gets his butt kicked
Both
twice.
times.
And man, so that's what brings me to the whole problem. Without having any Clone Wars, you really wasted your shot to put that on the big screen. So the reason why the TV show is so successful, because it has what everybody wanted, which was Anakin the hero, like a Jedi who you could actually cheer for, an actually cool character, and the actual Clone Wars, where the actual fights happen. Because you don't get any of that in the actual movies.
You got Ahsoka.
In the cartoon,
Ahsoka's cool,
isn't
too.
it the 2D one? You actually get
There's
to
a 3D
watch.
and a 2D one.
Yeah, in the 2D one, you get Grievous face off Windu, and Windu
Yeah.
stalemates him, and it shows you.
Yeah.
Oh, Grievous,
He's
yeah.
not easy to kill.
They put Grievous
He's
over really
really
well
well
in
killed.
both series.
Yeah,
They make him
the
cool.
The pre stuff, like I forget which one. It was like the 2D regular Star Wars.
2003,
Lucasfilm's
Gennady
one.
Tartarovsky.
Yeah, but
It's the guy who did Samurai Jack.
Yeah, the guy.
Yeah.
But they really
made
showed
that?
what Grievous
Very
was in, like his in peak physical condition.
Technically,
and-
that's his first appearance.
Yeah.
Is in that cartoon.
Yeah,
he shows
right.
up there before
The movie.
yeah, Revenge of the Sith, right? So
yeah.
'Cause he
I'm
has
just
a
saying.
breathing problem,
they-
which he gets during that.
Yeah, the reason is just that's the they showed him why he was a threat, like something the Jedi couldn't understand. And
yeah, that's what I'm saying. They put him over. So I'm using when I talk about characters, I end up using like wrestling terminology because I think it really works. So putting him over means you made him cool. You know what I mean? And you didn't make him cool by telling people you're cool. You made him cool by having him do cool shit, right? Yeah, Captain Marvel. You made him cool by having him do cool stuff, right? Like, he fought Mace to a standstill, and he had to retreat, but, like, bro, Mace is supposed to be top 1 or 2 strongest Jedi in the galaxy.
Plus, Grievous has no
And
force.
earlier before he fights Grievous, him and Yoda tear down a Star Destroyer, so just so they show you how strong he is. So when Grievous comes up and fights him to a stalemate, you're like, that Grievous guy's pretty badass. And Grievous kills like 4 Jedis before that in a previous
And Jedi
episode, you know what I
Masters,
mean? Jedi Masters too. So I think this is part of what screws up the whole prequel trilogy, is that you waste your movies. So okay, so let's start at the start. The very, very, very first movie, episode 1, right? What do you get for the main story from episode 1? Like what actually carries over that's important?
that there was a big war. That there.
No, there's no big war yet. It's still episode 1.
They're prepping
Uh,
for war.
Not even. It's a blockade, right?
Yeah, there's like a
So it's
trade
just
agreement
unrest.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the East.
So here's what you get from my evaluation from the first movie. You get introducing us to Anakin, introducing us to Obi-Wan. The only 2 characters we
That you
knew.
age with.
But we already said we know you, right?
Yeah.
That's literally the only 2 characters we know.
Yeah.
And introducing us to Palpatine, pre-Emperor, which is kind of important,
A Padme.
and Padme. That's really the 2 parts, right? You introduce Padme and you introduce Palpatine. Yeah, you introduce the Jedi Council, but I mean, basically you reintroduce them too anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, you showed the trading, the separatist beginning.
Yeah, and that's kind of important, I guess. But the bigger thing for me is that you spend so much of the movie. Think about who's the star of the movie. It's not Anakin, and it's not Obi-Wan, and it's not Padme.
It's Kylo.
It's Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah.
Yeah, Liam Neeson is the star of the movie, right?
Yeah.
Who's the bad guy in that movie?
Darth
Like the
Maul.
main bad guy, Darth Maul. It's not Palpatine, it's Maul, right?
His attack dog.
His appearance is so short.
But but he's look, man, best character design almost of all time. He
Yeah,
looks
it's
so
well done.
cool
He's
that
intimidation in its
he's
finest.
so impressive when he shows up on Tatooine with the big hood and he's got the lightsaber and you're like, oh, look at this fucking guy, and he does the flip and he's got horns and you're like, man, tattoos, like.
Actually,
that
that's
guy
the
is
skin color.
cool looking. Yeah, I know, but it's cool. No, that's actually that's retcon. Originally it was tattoos. Originally it was Sith tattoos.
Yeah, he gets the tattoos. The red is skin.
So Disney canon, it's skin color. It's skin patterning.
Yeah.
Before Disney owned it, it was Sith tattoos.
Oh.
Yeah, that's retcon.
Yep.
But yeah, you're right. You are right. Technically now, since Clone Wars, it is
Skin color.
skin coloring. But the whole problem is you spend 2 hours putting over, right? Making Qui-Gon and Darth Maul the coolest characters in the whole movie. What do you get at the end of the movie? They're both fucking dead. We start at the start. Let's go.
Later.
We have to show you new bad guys and new heroes. And who's our new hero? Well, it's supposed to be Anakin, except he totally sucks. He's a whiny teenager. He's like 15. What 15-year-olds are awesome? There's some out there, but I mean,
Could be
I
like
sucked as a
Honey Badger.
15-year-old. But, and then, yeah, Jesus, right? He's Honey Badger. He's the terrible X-23 clone. And then Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is awesome. Ewan
Obi-Wan
McGregor,
is
as
dope.
previously stated, is awesome in those. But you have to reintroduce a bad guy. So then I remember as a kid, there was like toy commercials before the movie came out, and it was like, you can have Darth Tyrannus. And I was like, who the fuck is Darth Tyrannus?
Dooku.
Yeah, but they didn't explain that like in the movie or in anything. It was just like,
No.
here he is. So you spend the whole thing putting over Dooku. All movie 2 is like, it's all this mystery pointing towards Dooku and Tyrannus,
Ironically,
right?
I like Dooku because he's kind of the elegant side of the whole Sith.
He's
thing.
cool. I like Dooku. But the problem is that you spend a whole movie developing him, and what do?
You kill him off in the
You
next.
kill him instantly. Like within the first 20 minutes, he's dead. And then you have to start all over again and reintroduce a new bad guy, General Grievous, who looks bitch-made in the movies because you didn't spend 3 movies introducing him. There was one bad guy, one main bad dude in the original one, and it's why Vader was such a badass, is because you knew that, like, hey, man, like, this dude keeps coming through everything, you know what I mean? Like, this is the guy, and you put him over, you spent 3 movies making him cool, so when he turns back to good, you're like, holy shit, this guy was the ultimate bad guy, right? Like, what? Whereas the prequel trilogy, you should spend 3 movies literally introducing a new bad guy just to kill him, 100 minutes later. Like, it's ridiculous to me. So here's how you fix the whole movie. The first movie is a goddamn wash. I love the first movie for its nostalgia. I think the pod race is cool, but it is a
That's
waste
pod
of
racing.
time. That's a pod race. It is a waste of time, dude. It's a total waste of time.
Extended
It does
version,
nothing
just
to
2 more
further
minutes.
the plot. You know what I mean? We don't get any inkling, even the separatist inkling, not sort of, right? Like
You have to go on a lore dive to learn.
yeah.
anything about them.
There's the separatist inkling doesn't feel like much of a thing to me. That feels more like in episode 2 where they connect the trade to the potential separatists. So you've put the Trade Federation over as bad guys in the first movie. So when they show up in the second movie with these new guys, you're like, those guys are bad guys. I know they're bad. Let's go, right? But I think that so if you're gonna remake the whole thing, first movie's got to go.
So
Not all the
Episode 1
Transformers were bad either.
Episode
No,
1
not
does
that they were.
not happen in this new universe. Gone.
I think with they could have had the pod race, but the pod race should have been like a background thing. So it'd be like he rolls the dice, they start it, you see him going, and then they flash back to like maybe watching some Sith stuff happening, or maybe Qui-Gon walks off to go deal with Maul or something because he has people telling like, hey, you're being followed, or he gets the comm up and like, yeah, these planets are the blockades. Like they do something.
Yeah.
Then they come back for where we watch the final bit where Anakin like beats Django or whatever his name is,
no,
the dude in
it's
the
some
pod.
weird alien's name.
Yeah, that guy, and he beats him, and we just skip the whole race.
Sebulba.
Sebulba.
Yeah.
After the first episode with Separatists, does anybody even remember seeing droid Dakars again?
Droideka. Destroyer droids.
Only in
yeah,
number 3.
they're in 1 and 3.
Yeah.
They're not really in 2 very much because there's a lot more Genosians at the end of that one.
I
Okay,
think
so
they're supposed
Will,
to be the
that's
same.
why I love you, man, because you're following my train of thought, and I'm kind of a step ahead of you.
Yeah.
So hear me out. We're not getting rid of the pod race. The podcast. We're not getting rid of the podcast, guys. We're still talking about Star Wars. Yeah, it's over. See you, boys. No, we're not getting rid of the pod race. What we're doing is episode 1 is fucking gone. We don't need little kid Anakin. We don't really need Padawan Obi-Wan. Fuck that shit. What we get is the very start of episode 2. That is the start of our new trilogy. When they're riding up that turbo lift to go meet Padme, you get all the exposition you need, man. I haven't seen her in years. We're old friends. It's obvious they have like a romantic connection right away, and it's far less creepy because it's not Natalie Portman and a little kid, and then Natalie Portman and an actual, like
Yeah, that age gap was
more
a
grown
bit-
man.
Yeah, that didn't feel right at all.
Feels way less creepy because of that. And then, like, we already know the players, right? Hey, we knew Anakin is Obi-Wan's Padawan back in the day, right? So let's go. And then he can still be petulant. He can still be that shitty teenager, and you can not cheer for him for the first movie because he sucks. And then when he gets spanked by Dooku at the end, you get the satisfaction of him getting his and learning his lesson, right? Because you're like, yeah, what? Get wrecked. The problem with the second movie is that it totally fucking stinks. It's boring as shit. There's that overdone love story way in the middle, and it's really awkward, and there's not enough action in it. The mystery part, I'm down with. I like the clones. I think you mentioned earlier, like on not Genosha, Camino. Thank you.
Camino.
On Camino, I think the Genosha part, like all at the end, is pretty fucking rad. That's by far the best part of the thing, right?
Ironically, the Caminos are very lore-wise. They're pretty evil, actually.
Yeah, they're very
There's-
lawful evil. Yeah.
They're like
Didn't they skip over their civil war where they tried to make another clone army?
No, they did do that in the video games and in Possible Lore, but really, they were literally killing off anybody who didn't meet their genetic standards.
Yeah. No, it's like pretty. That's what I mean. It's like lawful evil. It's like, oh, okay, you guys are pretty fucking twisted, but we need you. But you're on our side, so let's go, right? Like, yeah. I'm glad you pointed that out because it's a cool piece of lore that Camino is like a weirdly fucking dark place.
Like, they
man.
don't
Like,
seem
it's
like they're evil. They
spooks.
like-
seem like they're nice aliens, but in
they're
reality...
like
so cold.
They're like the
right?
Germany
So cool.
to your Italy.
Sort of. That's like pretty harsh, but I get what you're saying, right? They've got that like kind of cold, calculating, almost like disregarded life. So okay,
Stereotypical Germany.
new continuity. Boom. Episode 2 is now episode 1. In the middle of episode 2, what do we got? That whole thing where Anakin and Padme got that really cheesy, overdrawn love stuff on Naboo before they go and start following the part of the mystery that Obi-Wan's not on. Mm-hmm. Pod race. Pod race right in the middle of there. You get teenage Anakin rolling the pod race, and then we're sitting there being like, this is cool as shit. And then they're racing for something like information or leverage over someone
Or
to
how
get
about-
the information.
How about the
Just didn't do
assassin
the
who
love
tries to
story
kill
so
Padme
badly.
got
into the pod race, and that's the only place they can track her down to
yeah,
get the information
and
out of
maybe
her.
instead of just a poison dart to the neck, I'm having a brain fart. Jango Fett kills her while they're at high speed.
In the race, yeah, something cool like that maybe, right? Or, maybe during the race, because Anakin's trying to, take her down to interrogate her, maybe she loses control and blows up, and this is hinting at Anakin's dark temper.
No,
right?
at most it would
You know
be
what I
kind of
mean?
just
Like-
being either a
But-
force choke or something.
Yeah,
because
but
that's the icon.
that's what I'm saying, right? What if he she loses control, but really he force grabs the throttle and she smashes and blows up?
Yeah, he's the one that kills her, and Django's about to take the shot, and then he just puts.
Or
the gun
even
away
if
and
he
leaves.
isn't, he thinks he is.
Or maybe
and
it's
Django's standing there with the smoking gun, and here
Yeah.
we go.
Or maybe this
hinting
is
at
kind of
his
like
dark, and him having to keep secrets because of his temper,
Yeah.
which is important to the character of Anakin.
Would you keep the going back to find his mother's dead then?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a big character moment for sure. Because I think that really puts him over for the future. You know what I mean? And then after the pod race moment, you run movie 2
Or
as it normally would.
I would make it so that he didn't do it on purpose, like it kind of like a subconscious.
Like he loses control again. Because that's what I mean by having the little moment in the pod race. It's just like, hey, he's got this temper. and he loses control kind of a little bit, right?
And then once
he's
he finds
embarrassed.
his mom, he lets go of the restraint and kind of goes.
He fully loses control. Yeah,
I think that
rage
moment is the moment that makes him into Darth Vader. Is the killing the sand people.
But I think that's no, it's killing the younglings, bro. I totally disagree. It's that's like the start of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think that's a bit of a brutal start because in the way that they have it now, that's the start. So I think something like accidentally killing somebody in a pod race or thinking you killed someone in a pod race, that's the first step on the steep slope down. You know what I mean? Because that's like, oh shit,
Regret.
I killed someone, and then the mistake isn't I killed someone, and the regret. The mistake is I can't let anyone know. You know what I mean? It's covering it up from the Jedi Order because it's a bad looking death, right? It looks like he was angry and he killed her. You know what I'm saying?
It's not really. It's kind of like, it's more that he can't allow Obi-Wan to know something what happened. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm
Obi-Wan may
saying.
just think, oh,
But
Jango Fett did something.
In Obi-Wan, in this case, would represent like the Jedi Order, right? So it's like, yo, I don't want to be in trouble with Obi-Wan. I don't want to be in trouble with the Order, right? Like, hey, like I killed this guy in anger. What if they kick me out?
Having him go
You know what I
down
mean?
that
So he
path
covers
with
it up,
the,
and then that leads into the sand
It
people
might be
thing.
less about his fear of being kicked out and more about his fear of disappointing them all.
Yeah,
His whole
for sure.
drive is to
But
be a better Jedi.
whatever. The point is that
It's
actually that's clever, Bryce. I
Yeah.
shouldn't whatever you. Sorry, but the point is that lends to my credence of it's part of it starts his motivation
yeah,
of doing bad things
for somewhat
for
right.
relatable reasons. You know what I mean?
You have him go down that path like
It's
like
fear.
Yoda.
It's fear inspired,
Yeah.
right? So and that's the Yoda quote, right? So it's
fear is
hey,
a
here's
thing,
the
it's
very
a thing.
first inkling of fear, as opposed to him just slaughtering a village of people for the first one, right? That felt like a little bit of a harsh step off a
It
cliff
was
for
a
me.
stretch for a
Yeah,
possibility
yeah.
that he would
So
actually
Shark
do it.
jumping.
that's our new episode 1 is Anakin pod race in the middle of episode 2. Accidentally kills somebody. That's the start of the slope. Boom, we get to the end of episode 2. He loses his arm. Dooku kicks the shit out of him. Dooku looks like an absolute pimp badass. You know what I mean?
Which he
is. But there he is. Man, we're thinking Obi-Wan and Anakin are probably the coolest of all time at that point, right? Because there's no frickin' Qui-Gon Jinn. There's no Jar Jar Binks to sully it up, right? We're sitting there watching them be these badass Jedis following mysteries, racing pods. You know what I mean? And then at the end, they just get absolutely trashed by Dooku. And then Dooku, like, has to run away from Yoda. And we get to see Yoda at the end. Could you imagine seeing Yoda at the end of the first
Okay,
movie?
here's
That would be crazy, dude.
But here's a question I'm kind of wondering what you would think about it.
Okay.
What if they kind of kept instead of kind of pointing out his name in the first, they were calling him Lord Tyrannus from the get-go, and then when
I think the bad guys should have called him Lord Tyrannus more.
Yeah.
and then
Count
when
Dooku wasn't as
The
good.
Separatists
Then you-
should have called him
yeah,
more.
but then when Yoda comes in to fight Count Dooku, he said
He calls him Count Dooku.
The problem is that you gotta understand how they set up like the political side of it, which is a lore deep dive, which is kind of horseshit. And this leads me into the new canon second movie. So the new canon second movie is basically an amalgam of the TV show, and the fact that it's not called Attack of the Clones anymore. Fuck that. It's called The Clone Wars, and we get the Clone Wars. And more importantly, Anakin is a knight. It is before fucking Ahsoka doesn't have to be in there, right? The Clone
don't
Wars.
take away the
No. This would be like between the current cartoon and where episode 2 leaves off. So you get full-grown Jedi Knight Anakin fighting the war with full-grown Jedi Knight Obi-Wan, and instead of being totally unlovable, he's kind of a badass, and he kind of does a bunch of really cool shit, and he saves the day a lot. And even though Obi-Wan is smarter and he's better liked and he's more trustworthy and more reliable, Anakin's kind of the star of the show, because that's what I think the Clone Wars does best, is that Anakin is the hero.
If you wanted to do that, you could throw in Whispers of Grievous and not actually reveal him.
And then, but then the beauty of it is Grievous starts getting sprinkled in. You get Grievous's first appearance in the second movie instead of the third one. Not a lot. It's still more about Dooku, right?
Well, they ironically they
And
could-
that's where you lay out. Sorry, Zach. That's where you lay out the political connect, like I was talking about. Of the reason why he's Dooku is because he's the ruler of a planet, and he is like beguiling all these other rulers of planets into being separatists. Because they really put that over in the Clone War TV show, and I think that makes Dooku make a lot more sense.
Sorry
Sorry,
if I
Zach. Go
keep
ahead.
going off
No.
on
Go ahead.
different
Go ahead.
The movie
But-
kind of scatterbrains him on there.
No, it's good. I like it because you guys have good points, and then I can try and bring it back into like my argument. It's this awesome.
ironically, lore-wise, Lord Grievous did kill some Jedi on Geonosis in the second movie. They just didn't show him. So maybe they could have just shown a silhouette of him doing that.
Yeah, they cut out that scene in episode 3 where he like
Put him in one of the war
executes the
scenes,
Twi'lek
just
one.
destroying everything.
Yeah,
as he
Shaak Ti.
goes.
Yeah.
Shaak Ti was
But you could
there's a lot
in the new episode 2, you could have him do stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like just kind of shadowy figure killing some Jedis in a couple battle scenes, and then you reveal him in like the third arc as just like this total badass between you and Dooku, and then you know what I mean? What's the big climax? You foil their huge plan to do something, you know what I mean? And then the backup plan that leads you back into the third movie as it is, because I think the third movie is the best one. You don't really need to mess with it too much. Is hey, we may have stopped their super weapon that may have destroyed a planet, like let's say a Death Star prototype type thing, right?
Yep.
We stopped them from making that, but they just opened the web, or not the web space, where they just opened the
Webway.
the light speed the light speed corridor to Coruscant. Hey, we put ourselves out of position to not lose the war, and now they're attacking Coruscant. Boom, that's the start of episode 3. So the main point of episode 2 is having Anakin be the hero, because the big problem with Anakin as like the main character in the prequel trilogy is that there's no point in time when I actually like him and I actually want to cheer for him. It's like, yeah, okay, you're a kid saying some kind of annoying kid stuff, but whatever. And then it's like, okay, well, you kind of suck, man. You're kind of this creepy teenager. And then it's just
Really
like,
edgy.
yeah. And then you're evil. Like, episode 3, he's just basically a bad guy the whole movie, right? Like, it doesn't take long for him to get bad. Like, after the first half an hour, he's pretty much a bad guy.
Talk about episode 3, the scene where he starts screaming no after he learns that Padme dies. Someone has recovered/discovered a clip of a French version that they had originally planned, and they have it voiced over. So when he's screaming no, we know in the original one it's very robotic-y, it's Vader-y, but the French one's really cool because they have it dubbed over by the voice actor. So it sounds like the voice of Anakin is coming out through the Force, through the speaker, so it's more organic.
So it sounds
With a
more
tinge
Hayden
of
Christensen as opposed to James Earl Jones.
Everyone's like saying it. It's like Anakin's final scream of death. Like he's really pissed. Like it's him coming out through
That's
Vader.
kind of cool. That's a hot take. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. That would have been a cool move, sound creation wise. So the structure of this new trilogy then is episode 1. We introduce Dooku, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Padme. We start the Obi-Wan or the Anakin Padme thing early, man. Get it in there in episode 1 so it's not fucking weird when they start hooking up in episode 2 and it's really creepy and then they get married out of nowhere.
They have a really long, awkward love story.
Yeah. Have them, you know what? Change that from our new episode 1. Have them get married in episode 2. Done. You know what I mean? Hey, love story's still in there, but you're getting married in the next episode because now you're not 16. You know what I mean? Like,
Doesn't that have to be a secret, though? Because Jedi can't get married.
yeah, but that's part of why it's cool.
Which that was like Obi-Wan's love story and Qui-Gon's love story, and like why Qui-Gon was more of a gray Jedi. That was cool.
Yeah, that is one of the cool things about I think those characters in particular is that their understanding of it. So the whole point, and my whole argument about fixing the prequel trilogy is that Anakin, like you have to cheer for Anakin eventually, man, because he freaking sucks in the way they are. You know what I mean? And the only character that you want to cheer for is Obi-Wan, and he doesn't carry the plot. He is the supporting character. Well, yeah, that's true. The
Everybody
droids are
cheers
awesome.
for him because he doesn't sing.
Yoda, Mace Windu, because he's a G. But you know what I mean? Like, Obi-Wan's like the main guy who you're backing because he's the only guy who's always awesome and is a good guy, right?
I love that.
So
I hated that.
you put over him and you put over the bad guys. They make these bad guys that are really cool. They give them no time to actually do anything, and then they die.
So what you hate is that they turn them into disposable villains when they should be sticking around.
Because it makes it a worse movie. Because it lessens the product. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at. You got it right on the head there, Zach. 100%, man.
Dope.
Also, did you see the meme of General Grievous when he's facing off Obi-Wan with the
It's 1,000 lightsabers and he just
Yeah.
explodes himself.
Yeah, that one's funny. That's a good one. We got about 10 more minutes here, guys. What else you guys want to talk about for Star Wars?
Okay. Oh, would you like would you like it if they made a Star Wars: The Old Republic movies?
Yeah, I
There-
think that'd
there
be
was
really
talks
cool.
about that becoming a show.
It'd be hard to do. What they're doing instead right now is a book and a timeline called
games.
High Republic.
Yeah.
So it's going to start as a novel called High Republic, and so it's going to be the Disney version of like that era canon, like Old Republic corridor. And I think it's 3,000 years ago is what they're going with. So it would be similar if they did a movie. I don't know if they did a live action series a la Mandalorian. That would be sweeter than sweet
There-
as fuck. That would be awesome.
Yeah, there
Because I think Revan's story. If you're
Yeah, if
doing
they
if you're
wanted-
doing Kodor, you're doing Revan, right? Like
Yeah, but I kind of think they should do it kind of a new person, like not connected to any of the old lore that's already, but just somebody who
to any of the
Like a
Legends
brand-
lore. Yeah,
fresh start.
I thought that was my favorite move with Rey is that they didn't make her a Skywalker and they didn't make her a Kenobi. And sure, she was a Palpatine, but I was
a distant.
no. But you know what I liked more? I just liked more that not everyone is. So the Force doesn't get passed down the bloodline of everybody.
Yeah.
Skywalker is the exception to the rule. It should be. That's
He was
the
genetically
beauty
made that
of
way.
the Skywalker bloodline. That's what makes them special is that it passes down. Whereas the Force just inhabits other beings. So I kind of agree. I would love to see if Disney's going to come out with new movies. I would love to see them follow other Jedi, just random other people. I think that would be really, really, really cool.
At least
Billy
hints.
McGunnison or whoever,
Yeah.
right? Like
They got
Will
to-
Ross, the Jedi. Like,
They got to at least
be so
hints
lazy.
towards Plagueis. There has to be Plagueis stuff in there.
yeah, Plagueis would be cool, but that would be too early. Plagueis would be like
Like right at the end of it, be like
what
just
of High
hints.
Republic?
Yeah, just at the end.
No,
hint
that'd
something.
be way too. You're way too far in the
Or the
past
guy
to do
before Plagueis.
No, dude. That thousands of years. So even if Plagueis wasn't an alien who lived like 500, you're still, you're way the hell off. Like even in Disney canon, Darth Bane is 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So we're talking like way before the Rule of Two. This would be like. This is way back. So
It's
the cool
kinda
thing about
funny-
this is like KOTOR and Legacy, they can kind of do whatever they want.
It's kind of funny to me that
Ooh,
the-
I got a good idea.
We see the Sith.
Yeah, go ahead, Bryce.
We know that during the execution of Order 66, some clones were able to resist.
Hmm.
Why don't they make a series on the resistance of some of those clones?
Oh man, that would be. You know what?
Because we know that
That
the
would be
Mandalorian
badass.
is really good, and the guns are awesome, and the jetpacks are awesome. We also know that a lot of the clones have access to the same stuff. So
Well-
you can make a series, but tweak it a little to make it fun.
It makes sense. They were clever with the Mandalorian because gun effects are, I assume, easier to do.
they're cheaper.
They're cheaper,
Or
right?
a lot cheaper.
And more than that, it's a lot more relatable. So you can pull inspiration from other stuff. There's been a lot of gun action,
Sorry to interrupt.
so I think you could do like a clone.
Like
or
I like that
something,
idea
right?
as well, but I think the only way they could do it maybe is with the you've seen the latest stuff like from the.
Yeah.
I think that they could do a show about the bad company of the clones.
Yeah, I think Bryce's idea of like, hey, these are the guys who resist and they're trying to fight their way out of the other clones. I don't know if they would do that in like on screen, but I think I would make an unreal comic book.
Almost
Yeah.
because you
I think that would
need
be
to
an
escape to
amazing
survive,
comic book
but you'd have
series.
to also come to the terms
That would be a fun
you're going away
game.
your family.
That'd be a
get
very
out
fun
here.
game. That'd be
Yeah.
a really cool game if you think about it. You're like a clone trooper
Yeah.
who resists, and so it's like a
Republic
small
Commando
squad.
2.
That
Yes,
was a good game.
yeah, like that, right? Yeah, that would be really cool, man. I'd be into that. I got one more thing if you guys want to talk about it. I got one more take about Star Wars. This is for my buddy Curtis, who I play D&D with, especially because he says that Mandalorian and Rogue One are the best live-action Star Wars things. For the record, he is wrong.
Oh,
One made it on that
Firmly
list?
wrong. And here's why, because Rogue One is the most overrated Star Wars piece of all
I
time.
just like the droid.
Bro, people love that series. It blows my mind how much people love that series. Let's dive in. Let me savage Rogue One for 5 minutes just for Curtis here. Man, what is going on with... Okay, number one, there's a planet, and that's like the planet that you mine Jedi crystals from.
Kyber.
Fuck off. Like
When you
lightsaber
know
crystals?
that there's
No, but that's
kyber
horseshit.
things everywhere.
If everybody knows where it is, how is it mystical and, you know what I mean, force power, and it contradicts the Clone Wars? right? The whole those great episodes where the younglings go searching for their crystals
hard
in
to
that
get. It
temple.
wasn't easy
Yeah,
to
dude,
mine
it's
it.
supposed to be like crazy rare. That's part of the whole thing, right?
It's also dangerous.
The fact that people, yes, but the fact that people are just like, oh, you just go to Jeddah and there it is, right? Like it's like.
It's attached to a
Seriously?
Star Destroyer.
Seriously? Yeah, oh yeah, they're just transporting it up here, no big deal, and that's how they made the Death Star. Disney is too cute, man. All their stuff fits too much. Look, the lightsaber kyber crystal power source does not have to power the Death Star laser. There are other gun lasers in the universe. You could have just made a huge goddamn laser.
Better. They made
Like,
that a hidden vault where they were storing kyber that they collected.
yeah, just to
do
keep
that.
it out of the hands of potential Jedis or Force, or to continue further your Inquisitor line, because Rebels had already happened at that point. Anything that would make more sense than that, because it's too
Ironically,
cute.
I do kind of wonder why they couldn't have done some type of Force Doomsday weapon like they did in the comics.
You know what? That was really the only thing that I had. The only problem I had with Force Awakens is that I think that no one would compare it to Episode 4 if it wasn't a giant space laser. If it was like a disease or a force weapon, like if they supernovaed a sun and it blew up a star system, or if they like unleashed a disease on these planets, it would be like no one would compare the two, because the first 2 acts of that movie are completely different. It's way more of a search for movie as opposed to like Star Wars Episode 4, which is a bit of a, things start from small beginnings. Here we go. It's really a lot more about the end. Back to Rogue One. Yeah, that kyber crystal thing, it really cheeses me off. I am not about that life.
They should have made a hidden kyber vault.
Yeah, yes, hidden kyber vault would have been way cooler. You could have had way more other stuff. Force secret weapon, anything would have been way
Or
cooler
they
than
could
that.
have
That was
been like
trash.
the-
Too cute.
I forget what, but there was this Sith holocron that had all the knowledge of the Sith Order from
Yeah.
the old times. That would have been a
That would have
pretty
been a
good
cool
prize.
artifact
Yeah.
find.
You could have had something cool like that. But, you know what I mean? It's just like, come on with that. And then for the whole first act, this character, they keep talking about this character. And they make him sound like he's really mysterious and important. Saw Gerrera. Who's Saw Gerrera? Oh, Saw Gerrera is going to hear about this. Don't, or you're going to be as bad as Saw Gerrera, people say. You know what I mean? All this stuff. And you're like, all right, this guy's going to be probably a big deal. Let's see who he is. And Forrest Whitaker, very good actor. Great, does great stuff. Loved him in Bird. Charles Mingus, awesome musician. That being said, oh my God, he is absolutely terrible in that movie. He is gutter trash. You guys actually try and watch Saw Gerrera in that movie?
They didn't give him enough time to become anything.
Talk like this for some reason. What choice is that, Forrest? Why did you choose to do that? You're completely unintelligible. No one knows what you're saying, bro. Saw Gerrera, and then the other problem is there's no context. What do I care about this guy? You're
Doesn't
just
he have a
Captain
terrible
Marveling him. You're
wound
just
at that
telling me
point,
he's
though?
important. What's that?
Doesn't he have like a terrible wound at that point, though?
He's got several terrible looking wounds, and he's wearing this cool kind of Vader-like, suit
Life
and
support
respirator.
suit.
Yeah. But that's the thing is, you're like, okay, here he
But
is,
why?
and then he's just, okay, the Boogale will find out. What is that? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
They
oh my
probably should have made
God.
It would have been cooler. if
Oh
they
my
just
God,
talked
and then-
softly to everybody.
And then he shows up and just dies. He's just like stands there. He's like, he gives you like the hand up wave and death. So you spend the whole act doing
He's cool in
basically
the
what you did
books.
to every bad guy in the prequel trilogies, where you made this guy and said how cool he was, and then killed him before I felt any connection to him at all.
He suffers from
I
a lot.
don't care about his death. Why did you make it important? You know what I mean?
He suffers, in my opinion, he suffers a lot like characters in the new, like the sequel stuff, where, like, they suck in the movie sucks, but when you read the books, like DJ or that guy,
DJ and Phasma. He suffers from Phasma Foundation.
they're really good in the
Phasma
books.
book is real good. Dude.
Oh, she's like
It
a
is
little,
so
she's like a female
savage,
Vader.
dude.
It's
She's
awesome.
so awesome in the books. Worst character in the prequel trilogies.
I know,
Terrible.
She's like non-existent.
Well, you just don't have to. They never did anything with her. Why exist, right? Like, why create the character if you're never going to use it? To keep absolutely savaging Rogue One, man, lots of good stuff about that movie. You move on. I love how dark it is. I love the fact that everybody dies at the end. They have to die at the end. You know what they don't have to do with that movie, which is absolutely disrespect and total trash in my opinion, is freaking hologramming, Tupacing in Grand Moff Tarkin.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like, what is that?
The holograms are
That
gonna go
feels
away.
so disrespectful. I mean, The guy died so long ago. He can't sign off on this, man. You're jamming words into his mouth. You're bringing his likeness back up and making him walk around like a puppet. That is so fucked up, dude. That feels really weird to me. And more importantly, there's a whole council of Moffs. We saw them all in episode 4. Bring back one of those assholes. Just make a new one. Hey, here's Moff Will Zach Bryce. Moff's Will, Zach, and Bryce are going to be in charge of this fucking thing, and you just have him be the badass. You know what I mean? Like,
I was going to say, why not that young guy that they have in episode 7, the blonde-haired dude, but I'm like, wait, this is before that.
It's before that. Yeah. But you know what I mean? It could just be anybody else. That, like, it's a little thing, but that really made me feel uncomfortable, man. Like,
I see that, and I think of the South Park episode with all the
Peter
holograms.
Cushing doesn't deserve that. Yeah, right? Like, that's trash
They just
to me.
needed a commander to stand in for that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It could have been anyone. You could have made anyone.
They could have made a stormtrooper commander.
Like, you brought Vader back in the movie. Why not make him do it?
A clone
They used
trooper.
Peter Cushing's hologram, so Grand Moff Tarkin's hologram, basically.
Make a clone
Could they
trooper.
not have used I don't know if this is the same person or not. Who's the pale-faced one in the Empire at War game?
Oh, I think that is him.
Yeah, that might be Tarkin. I think.
Or
I haven't played
slash
Empire
generic
War.
dude.
But yeah, they've made up. That's a good point. They made up a bunch of Moffs and higher up Emperor guys for every book and video game ever. I don't understand why it doesn't work.
Sure, with the proto Death Star laser.
On that
Yeah.
note, the
would have been cool to see
the
him.
Renegade Empires at War story with the guy who was like building up his army to get revenge, and you get like the droidicas and shit in the huts on his side. That would have been cool to see as a show or a book.
That would have been fun. I would have enjoyed that. Anyways, last take on Rogue One, and the last reason why it totally sucks and leaves a bad taste in your mouth. It doesn't totally suck. It's a really good movie, but it's super overhyped in my opinion.
It's got some problems.
But hey, yeah, it's got problems that people really overlook, and I think Force Awakens, Rise of Skywalker, better movies for my money. But that's just for me. The last thing that really fucks with me, and it's tied to the last part, why you got to CGI Carrie Fisher's face? You could have just had her silhouette and voice, and you would have been like, oh, Princess Leia, ooh, why you got to do that? And that's tied to the other trash of how cool is that sequence of Vader killing all those guys in that hallway?
Yes.
Isn't that cool as hell?
Door stuck.
Too bad it totally sucks, because at the end of it, he walks out and just, oh, there's the Tantive 4 flying away. What the fuck is that? Too cute, Disney. Yeah, okay, so, okay. Hear me out. You guys are looking at me like I'm crazy. You guys are. I am crazy, but hear me out. Leia is your spy in the Senate.
Yes.
Correct? Mm-hmm. At this point, yeah, it's before episode 4, right? Right before episode 4. You send her in her very easily identifiable ship to your only major battle so far to literally take the plans physically from someone. When 40 minutes earlier, before you start the climactic battle, the whole problem is you can't beam them up to space. Like, you can't email them to the ship because there's a shield in the way, right? So they go through all the climax, all the main characters die to email it up to the ship, and then they have to physically pass a floppy disk down a hallway and then physically give it to Princess Leia? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, why didn't they just go bounce it back straight to them?
Bro, yeah, as soon as you get it, you email it on next. And
Well,
more importantly,
because-
you wouldn't send it to your spy. You wouldn't give it to your... If you're the law beside me, Zach, I wouldn't give it to Will. I wouldn't give Will drugs and be like, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? No, man. Like, give it to Will to give to somebody, to give to somebody, to give to your spy. You know what I mean? That's terrible espionage. You guys are trash. I am losing it over that part.
It's like they got to that point and they're like, oh shit, we only have 10 minutes left. Okay, and we got to have that final scene so it swiftly blends into episode 4.
Man, you do the exact same sequence, except they pass the little disc through the door closes,
Yeah.
Vader's cutting through it, and now the race is on to email it on to the next ship. And so Vader, instead of coming out into the vacuum of space somehow, he's just standing there, horse shit, because it's a damaged hangar bay. There's clearly no shield there. They just flew out. He sees them flew out. No engine wash. Vacuum of space, no problem. Total bullshit.
He's Vader.
But instead of that, you know what I mean, he gets there, and the rebel guys turn and look at him like defiantly, like, yeah, we sent it away.
Yeah.
get wrecked. And yeah, he snaps their neck with the Force. Zach, my boy's got it right here, dude.
I still want to know how they managed to catch the Corvette.
Well, and
considering
then
it's super fast.
and then they dip out in light speed, right? And then why even deny it at the start of episode 4? You literally looked at each other in the eye. You know what I mean?
'Cause episode
Oh,
4
it's a
was maybe for
diplomatic
that
mission.
one.
Like, guys, come on.
It-
We saw you. You saw us. Like,
I think that's just the tale of this, like, the tale that a lot of these big series falter from, and it's not one that you can't really change, but it's old movie syndrome. Like, you have this movie and this story that was made and set in stone a long time ago, and then you try to make something to explain it, and you gotta somehow line it up, and then the newer movie kind of falters at that point.
I totally agree. It's a poor choice of where to input new content, because this is why I've never watched Solo. I have no compulsion to watch Solo. I feel like it truly.
I watched it. Not good.
Dude, it could be great, but it truly does not matter.
The ending is the only part.
But it doesn't matter is the point, right?
Yeah.
Like, because you know, and the same with Rogue One is that at the end I was like, well, all these people got to be dead. Like just watching the movie, you're like, they're so important during the movie that they would be around in episode 4, so they all have to die at the end, right? They have to.
Or
Otherwise, they would
hit
be
them into episode 8.
no, but otherwise they
7.
would be big parts of the rebellion in 4, 5, and 6. You would have seen them, right? You know what I mean? So if you had hired an actor to play Wedge, and Wedge was one of the characters, Wedge was the pilot,
Yeah.
then you'd be like, well, damn, here we go. You know what I mean? Like, we know this guy's going to be back.
That
But
would be fun, though.
since I would love
'Cause
Wedge
you could
prequel
save
stuff.
them, and then at the end of another movie, have somebody go,
Yeah.
and where are these characters right now? And somebody would be like, we know. And then end.
Yeah, but I think it's a poor choice to place new content because you know what's going to happen at the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't do anything drastic. You're not going to take out Vader or the Emperor. The Empire's not getting toppled. You know, Han, Luke, and Leia aren't changing. It's just why I don't read Star Wars ongoing comic right now, because it follows Han, Luke, and Leia between episode 4 or 5 and 6, and I know what happens at the end.
Yeah, that's the.
It's called Return of the Jedi. Yeah. You know what I mean? It came out in '83. Like,
That's why
let's
I like
go.
Afra.
We're going a little overtime here, even for us. I'd like to thank everybody for listening in. I'd like to give a big shout out to Ray for calling in and talking to us and hanging on the line while I shouted about stuff. Big shout out to Zach and Bryce for joining us again. Thanks for coming, boys.
No problem.
Really glad to have you guys. It was really fun. Really enjoyed talking Star Wars with you guys. Once more, the human salacious crumb. I'm going to make this stick. My dude Will, thanks for being with me as always. Thanks from me, Mike, and the whole Pulled from the Shelf family. We love you. Thanks for listening. Send us your hot Star Wars takes at me if you want
At
to.
me,
I
bro.
will fight for you. I am bulletproof on this point. That is how you fix the Star Wars prequel trilogies. I am Mike. This is Pulled from the Shelf. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.